Boom, we are live. We are live. I'm gonna just wait a few moments. Actually, I think I'm gonna just pop right into it. Actually, so yeah, I'm gonna just pop right into it. Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for this weekend, September 30th and October 1st of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. And I know I'm a little bit tardy, y'all. This is probably the latest I've gotten out a forecast. See, what had happened was, not for real. So I was actually making this video earlier, and then my internet cut out at home. And since I use StreamYard to actually record these videos, whether I go live or I'm just doing a recording, I require internet to do it. I was about 20 minutes into that forecast, and then my internet suddenly cut out. Then I get a notification from my internet provider saying that there's an outage in my area until about 1:30 p.m. So, needless to say, that's why the forecast is coming out a little bit late. So, that being said, I think everything happens for a reason. I really do. So, if you watch this, obviously this will be in the live tab, but I'll make sure that I add it to the correct playlist so you guys can actually see it and it's actually visible. We have a lot of things happening this weekend, and because there's a lot of things happening, I'm going to do just like this basic overview, and I'm going to just read this all to you guys so you guys can see just all of the things that we have going on. Sun is in Libra. Moon is in Aries. It's going to ingress into Taurus. We have a moon that's going to oppose Mars in Libra. It's going to conjunct the North Node in Aries and then oppose the South Node in Libra. We have a moon trining Venus in Leo. We have Mercury out of shadow in Virgo trining Uranus retrograde in Taurus. That's my internet cutting out. We have the moon squaring Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Venus in Leo trining the North Node in Aries. There's a lot of stuff going on, as you can see. So we're going to run through this, and we're going to go hour by hour like I usually do. But like I said, I was making this video earlier. It cut out on me, but I think everything happens for a reason. Now, perhaps you experienced something similar to that. What that probably is, more than likely, is the fact that we do have Mercury here at 22 degrees, making a trine over to Uranus. Now, when I was making this earlier, the moon was in opposition to Mars, right? And it was also trining over to Venus. Now, let's talk about the Mercury trining Uranus thing, right? Let's start off there, right? Mercury is finally out of shadow. Remember, it retrograded at 21 degrees in about 50 minutes of Virgo. So now it's finally out of shadow. Think of these retrograde planets as weights, if you will, right? And like say you're carrying around like a vest, and like each of these things is like a rock. Each of these planets is like a rock that kind of weighs you down. And say you're like climbing up a mountain or you're running or something like that. Now, what's interesting about this is that we're coming off of a full moon in Aries. Mind you, this moon conjuncted Chiron. It's going to conjunct the North Node as well. We are definitely wanting to feel like we have some sort of power. We want to feel like we're getting our power back. And in a sense, we are. But don't jump the gun. Yes, Mercury trining Uranus is a positive aspect. It is a trine, so it's generally a harmonious one. And since Mercury is now out of shadow, we can start to feel like the picture is becoming clearer. Maybe our game plan is starting to work. Things are starting to click, at least in the mental spheres. The problem with this is that we still have 5 planets in retrograde: Uranus, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto. And we also have Chiron, if you want to include Chiron too, as a major asteroid. And we have a Venus that's still in shadow. And we have a Mars that's in detriment, and we have a Sun that's in fall. So even though things are starting to kind of clear up, and we feel like maybe we're starting to kind of move forward in that kind of aspect with the Mercury, the trine to Uranus is still going to throw an interesting wrench into the equation. For example, with me, literally my internet, which is Uranus, literally cut out in the middle of me making this video, in the middle of me communicating this to you guys and delivering this to you guys. Literally cut out in the middle of it. Now, I could freak out about that. I could freak out about the timing of everything because remember, Virgo likes things to be orderly and on time. But when they're trying to Uranus, time is definitely going to be a little bit more shaky. So you can get frustrated if things don't go exactly the way that you want to. And if it's not going off the timing that you want to. This is also a trine where, since Mercury is out of shadow, people are going to actually feel a little bit more confident in speaking and communicating what they feel needs to be kind of put in different places in different orders with the whole Virgo energy. This can definitely be a weekend where people really start to come out of nowhere with these conversations. They start telling you things. They may dump information on you this weekend, right? Just dumping information on you this weekend. Probably things that they've been suppressing for a while, and now they're finally telling you these things, right? It could be good things. It could be bad things. I think it's really more so just things are just coming out of nowhere. And when these conversations come out of nowhere, how are you going to react? How are you going to respond? Because Mercury is in Virgo, it still has a bit of that critical edge to it. Oh, you should do this. You should do that. You should dress like this. You should do things like that. It's very much so going to almost be like a know-it-all kind of energy. Like they know what's best, especially with the Uranus and Taurus. That's retrograde. And us trying to find our value, especially as a collective. The people that really, especially subconsciously, feel this Mercury come out of shadow, they're going to want to just blurt out their message to the whole world. And especially with the moon still in Aries with this, with Chiron in the North Node, they really do feel like it's their destiny to do this. But the question is, are they really going to feed into the negative aspect of the Chiron? This is social justice warrior kind of energy. This is people championing causes, but going about it in not the best way. Not the most strategic way. It doesn't show it here, but the sun is conjunct Pallas Athena at 7 degrees today. So that's the thing that we have to remind ourselves. If we're looking for some sort of peace and harmony and balance, it has to be spiritual in nature, right? Because Pallas Athena, probably the strongest energy in Libra, I would say right now, and it's a minor asteroid, and she's a strategist. Mars is also here too, on the South Node. This is definitely a moment where trying to be overly diplomatic isn't really going to get you anywhere, especially because with the South Node here, people are going to be making shady-ass deals. You want to be careful about people making shady-ass deals this weekend under the guise of trying to help you. This is the weekend of clout chasers. People are going to be chasing clout this weekend and using social causes to do so. That's why you really want to be careful about social media influencers, because now that this Mercury is out of shadow, it feels like one of the weights in that vest I was talking about has come off. One of the limiters has come off, and then they're going to think, oh, I have all this power now. I have all this energy now. Let me go out and blurt out to the world and tell the world who I am, what I'm about. The dangerous part about this is that this is someone who's not walking their spiritual path, and they're only doing it for themselves. If they're not looking for the win-wins in life, if they're only concerned about themselves, but they'll use a social cause or, appealing to a group of people as a means of gaining that currency and that clout, you want to be careful about who you follow this weekend. You want to be careful about who you listen to this weekend, because like I said, at least on Saturday, the moon is still going to be in Aries for most of the day. It's going to oppose Mars. It opposes the South Node. It's going to square Pluto. So that brings up another thing too, where people are going to be rallying against, authority figures, wanting to challenge them. And while, yes, society is changing forever, I will say that, and we have a looming government shutdown and stuff, and we've had weird debates that were absolute debacles this week in the political sphere. This is definitely a weekend where you don't want to get too caught up in a lot of the external drama. Because honestly, here's the funny thing. You think that things are dramatic right now. We haven't even gotten to the eclipses yet. We haven't even gotten to the eclipses yet, right? So let's see. I'll see. This thing is a little bit different than me using my usual platform with the Astro Gold, but you'll see. Let's see. That moon is going to make the square over to Pluto at 27 degrees, right? Mercury is about to get to 23 degrees. Another thing I want to talk about too is this whole dance between Mars and Venus and how Mercury's smack dab in the middle of it, right? So while things are clearing up with the Mercury coming out of its shadow, you can start to feel like our plans are starting to come a little bit more into view. But with the 5 planets retrograde, we still can't just jump the gun right now. It's the time where we have to allow those messages from the universe to kind of still come through and not just jump the gun too much. We're going to want to be reactive, especially with the moon in Aries. It's very fast, wants to just spark things off. But just be careful about how you're reacting or responding. Now, Venus and Mars have been doing this weird dance. They've been kind of flirting with each other, right? Remember, before Venus retrograded, Venus was trying to catch up to Mars, but Venus was moving slow, so she couldn't quite catch up to the conjunction that would have happened in Leo. They're not going to meet until Aquarius next year. And then we have Mars, which is now just moving fast, but Venus is catching speed. And they would almost sextile, but they're not going to quite sextile either. So there's the universe is kind of flirting with us a little bit. It kind of can feel like, especially when you have these personal planets, Venus, the feminine, Mars, the masculine, and Mercury, which is more like this. It's neither male or female. It's more hermaphroditic, if anything. This energy is smack dab in the middle, trying to find the balance between these things. And it just came out of shadow. And it trines Uranus as soon as it does that, which is going to just... Mercury's trying to just collect his thoughts. Their thoughts right now. It's like they're trying to figure out, all right, where do I belong? What do I belong doing? What habits do I belong to? How do I organize my day-to-day reality? How does this all make sense? How do I balance the masculine and the feminine energies when Venus is still trying to get out of Leo and Mars is not feeling that happy in Libra? This energy, it's an interesting energy. It's a little complicated, I'm not gonna lie. But the way that you overcomplicate this energy is if you try and just force what you think it should look like. I'm not gonna lie. This energy is a bit of a flirt. It's like a spiritual stimulus check from the universe. That's what it feels like. But you got to remember, the stimulus check isn't going to fix the problems or the issues or the challenges. It's not going to give you the solutions. It's just going to stimulate you in this meantime period. But that's what this whole weekend is. That's what the full moon in Aries was, with the Mercury that wasn't out of shadow yet, with 5 planets retrograde and a Venus that's still not out of shadow. So if you think that you had this massive power boost, I'm sorry to tell you that this full moon in Aries wasn't really about that. It was about seeing where your flame already was. It's about realizing who you really are and, doubling down on that. Realizing the things that you do have to be grateful for with all the Taurus energy, Jupiter and Uranus there. This full moon, yeah, sure. Did it give us some power? Yes. Is it giving us the power that, we think we need? No. Is it giving us the power that we do need, though, that the universe knows that we need? Yes. It's not, well, no. Let me go back. This full moon wasn't giving us the power that we want. It is giving us the power that we need. And you want to be careful with this spiritual stimulus check from the universe this weekend, because if you go and spend it frivolously, then when we get to the eclipses in less than 2 weeks, it's going to be even more dramatic. This is not really a time to try and force the issue, trying to make massive changes, trying to make massive statements, trying to, make massive grandstands. This is not really the time for that. This is the time of recognizing the power that we do have, recognizing the gifts that the universe has given us. And, now that Mercury is out of shadow, yeah, we can start to figure out how to organize our day-to-day reality to reflect the life that we really want. We just can't. We have to be aware and cognizant of the fact that we still have a lot of energies that are slow. At least the personal planets are moving forward. So that's why I'm saying this is very personal. This is why I'm saying don't respond too much to the external world, because all of those outer planets are still in retrograde. That's the thing about this weekend. The moon's going to move into Taurus tomorrow. Let me see. This thing moves so slow. It moves so much slower than what I'm used to. So I'm going to just bop it ahead like that. It was so much slower than I'm used to. I haven't even seen if anyone's like in the actual chat. I don't think so. That's all good. So yeah, I haven't seen if anyone's in the chat and stuff. But yeah, come the end of the day tomorrow, that moon's going to conjunct Jupiter, right? Venus will be at 24. Oh no, excuse me. Mercury will be at 24 degrees. Virgo getting ready to oppose Neptune. Of course, Venus at 24 degrees, getting ready to trine the North Node, sextile the South Node. Like I said, this whole weekend, like I said, is a bit of a tease. Feeling like we actually gained a lot more power than we really have. But the power that we are gaining this weekend is very vital and valuable too. But we have to appreciate what is being given to us. It's sort of like, how do I describe this? I'm thinking, I don't know why like the metaphor of like cars is coming up, but it's like you wishing that you had 3 nitrous boosts, but you only get 1, right? Hey, you had 0. You didn't have any nitrous boost. Now you have 1. This is why you don't necessarily want to use the nitro boost immediately. But some people who aren't cognizant of these energies, they're not aware of what's going on, they're going to use the nitrous boost early. This is literally the definition of steady, like slow and steady wins the race. But with a full moon in Aries that we're coming off of, and a Mercury finally out of shadow, people are definitely going to jump the gun and use that nitrous boost as soon as it's deposited into their spiritual bank account. Be strategic about how you use this weekend and how you use this spiritual stimulus check or boost from the universe. It's not the full carton of eggs, if that makes sense. It's not the full thing, right? But it is a bit of a boost. It is a little bit of a pick-me-up, right? I think it can be a very positive weekend for meditation, for going within ourselves. I think it can be a very positive weekend for starting to connect with people, because the beautiful thing about the Mercury trining Uranus that starts is that you can start to connect with individuals and have like these nice deeper conversations where you're bringing this higher cosmic knowledge into this world and like really integrating it, right? Let me get some cards going here too. But my main thing about this weekend, just to caution you guys, is to not be so reactive in using that boost this weekend, right? So it's not the full thing. We're still not going full speed, but at least we get a little bit of a push from the universe. Now, you're going to see some people use it really fast this weekend, and they're going to be clout chasers. I'm just going to say most of them are going to be chasing clout. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some weird demonstrations this weekend in the name of social justice. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, I hate to say it, rioting this weekend somewhere in the country, and maybe some influencer getting involved and getting arrested again. What's up with all these influencers like going to all of these riots and then using it for clout and stuff? Have you noticed that? It's insane. Wouldn't be surprised if I see that this weekend. Just be careful about who you follow this weekend. Be careful about who you connect with this weekend. So, that can really go for any day, to be fair. But this weekend especially, people are going to be a lot more reactive. Now, when the moon moves into Taurus, it kind of chills out a little bit. But definitely going to be interesting to see. So let's see. All right. I have the Six of Drums or the Six of Pentacles. This is about going to the beat of your own drum this weekend. Not following anyone else's beat or tune. Maybe synchronizing yourself with their beat or tune if they happen to synchronize well. But this is about finding your own beat, your own rhythm this weekend. And you can see they're still playing music, so you can definitely connect with people to create a beautiful sound. But you have to ask yourself, as far as like the people that you're around, is it creating a beautiful song? Is it an orchestra? Is it a nice chorus? Or is there a lot of discordant energies all over the place? And then it starts to sound like a mess. Clarification card, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Like I said, I told you guys, this is not the weekend to think that you got it all figured out. Mercury, sure, out of shadow, but trines of Uranus that is offline, and we have 5 planets retrograde. Is there a boost that comes this weekend from the universe? Yes. A nice little spiritual stimulus check? Yes. Don't spend it frivolously. Do not spend it frivolously. Be a little bit more strategic about it. Bottom of the deck, 4 of Drums or 4 of Pentacles in reverse. Don't hold on to what you think it should look like and what you think you should have. Let go and let God release. That's what the full moon is about. It's about releasing, right? The only thing that we really should be stepping into is embracing our true authentic selves. And no one can tell you what that looks like for you. It's an inner journey. It's a spiritual journey that you have to take by yourself. So people like me and other light workers out there, whether they do, there's all kinds of different modalities out there. We can function as guides, but we simply just guide you to the water, but we can't force you to drink either. So the same thing goes for us too. Trust me. Like, it's like this stuff happens to me. Like my guides, my angels, they'll guide me to the river, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to drink every single time. And then I have to learn my lessons and go through challenges just like anyone else does, right? So let's see what the Oracle card is. We have the Crown Chakra. I don't draw this card that often. The frequency of the Crown Chakra, the violet flower of life, supports our spiritual connection to the universe and our ability to transmute negative energy into light. I love that. It's about finding the win-wins. This is about finding the win-wins in our life. How can you champion yourself and others this weekend? And that's really what it comes down to. It really does. So once again, I do apologize for the tardiness of this video. And I hope that this message helps you out in some way, and trust that you guys have a wonderful and beautiful weekend. I think it'll be a positive and powerful weekend as far as realizing that we do have a little bit more of our power back. But like I said, don't go trying to like slay level 50 bosses when you don't have the stamina to do so right now. Just keep killing slimes and like low grade monsters for now. And I know it may seem boring and mundane, but you're building up your power, you're building up your stamina, you're building up your energy so you can take on those bosses later on down the road. Got these eclipses coming up too, so conserve your energy. You're going to need it. So anyways, that's going to do it for your weekend astrology forecast. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you would like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace. Oh, forgot my mouse isn't in. All right, peace.